have your code and your ticker on this network, and you can't stop it from being traded.
Right.
And so there's a derivative, and then if there's liquidity bonding the prices together, so if, let's say you have Chainlink on Ethereum, and then after launch, price bounces around a while, but I bet that over time that these prices will move similarly.
Right.
I think that the Link ticker on Pulsechain is likely to move similarly to the Link ticker on Ethereum.
Right. Just because of the bridge, right? And
well, because they're bonded by the liquidity.
Right.
And then it's the same code with the same ticker. Now, do you want to pay $100 or $300 to trade it on Ethereum, or do you want to pay a penny to trade it over here? And we already know this answer because they're doing it on other networks as well.
Yeah.
People do trading on alternate networks, and then we're the one that you don't like. Your coins are already here. You don't even have to bridge over. Right. You've already got your free coins here. You can already access them by changing one setting in your MetaMask. It's awesome.
Dude, it sounds
it
sounds pretty awesome.
Well, that's the trick. That's the magic. Is you launch this whole network with all these new coins. How do you get those new coins to be valuable?
Right.
But by not letting anyone ever stop the trading, by having the same tickers, and by giving people a reason to back the value of the things they got free.
Right.
By rewarding them with a yield farming token. It's like a giant vampire attack, basically. It's a giant vampire attack.
Hey everybody, welcome. Another day in the office, but this time we've got some green candles to talk about on Pulsechain. So Pulsechain prices have bounced, and nice to see that. We also have Morgan Stanley bullish about crypto rebounding in August, so we'll talk about that. And of course, the Mafia Vault hits $155,000 on Pulsechain. It's just getting bigger by the day, which is pretty awesome. And of course, we've been covering that from the beginning because we're really back Jacob's projects, and we should have shared, been on the travels with Jacob as he's learned to make his projects better and better, learn from any mistakes that have been made, and just go from strength to strength. So we're really enjoying that. And of course, he is the world's #1 peer-to-peer DeFi and GameFi creator. So it's great to have him on Pulsechain, and of course BNB as well. So that's kind of cool. Now we're going to get into it, folks. We're going to cover a lot of stuff in the markets. So we're going to obviously cover the stock market briefly, then move into crypto, cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of the news there from Morgan Stanley. And then we're going to get into, obviously, we're going to talk about actually something on Dex Screener that may have popped up. You may or may not have seen it, which is Moonshot, kind of a launching pad. We're going to talk about that on Dex Screener briefly. And then, of course, we're going to get into a lot of other stuff around Pulsechain markets. So we're going to check them all out. They're all green today, which is really, really good. I know people have been waiting for some green candles on Pulsechain, trying to pick that bottom off. We've been talking about that day to day. We got a bounce pretty much from the bottom of the range that we saw and managed to hold it, which is kind of cool. We're also going to talk about PulseMafia, of course. We had an update today with the privacy, so we're going to get into that as well. And, of course, wrap up with the old Hex, which may be a bit of a darling moving forward. Now, one thing I was going to say is I got a poll up, and I haven't just got it up today on Hex Token channel. It's also up on Superman Crypto as well. So if you're on Superman Crypto watching, you can enter the poll as well over there. So which Richard Hart coin token will perform best in the bull market? The other question that's related to this is which coin will actually lead the pack, so to speak, or will we see some of the horses in the race for Richard Hart's coins moving, different positions at different times. So definitely check that out. Which Richard Hart coin token will perform the best in the bull market? And you can now do that poll on Superman Crypto as well. We just started that today. I was just like, oh man, I should have been doing that ages ago. But anyway, we've got it going now. All right, so big shout out if you're watching on any of those channels, Hex Token channel, Superman Crypto, or Pulsechain X, which is really growing well. So big shout out for that. Then do that. Now, the other thing is I've been thinking about starting a news channel with some cool stuff. It's going to be, general news, but a lot of politics and other stuff like that in it. Let me know if you would like to sign up to, subscribe to that if I set that up. So I'm just not quite there yet, but I have a lot of ideas around it. Yeah, let us know in the chat if you think that's a good idea and you'd like to subscribe to that. Kind of cool. What else we got there? Yeah, let's get into it, folks. We've got a few people in the chat. Let's go to the top there. We've always got Lies Beneath coming in with the alpha. And how are you today? Very good. It's actually very sunny again outside. We've got a high over the over the country in New Zealand. And yeah, it's not quite nice out there, given the fact that we're still in the last month of official winter, right? Hex Pulsex incentive for the win 100%, and we've got that in the poll today, and they're bouncing, so we're going to cover those markets later on. We've got Andrew Reynolds in the house there. Happy Friday to you, Andrew. It is Friday in Down Under. It's still Thursday, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere. Kind of cool. And we've got Andrew Reynolds in, says, hi, everybody. Cool. And Lisbon says, super news. Very interesting, yeah. I'm actually going to be calling the channel, it's already got a name. I haven't used it. I set it up a little while back, but I'm just trying to think about the format that I want. And I think I'm just probably going to do a format that I've seen someone else do. And I'll do my own branding for it. I think I might do that. So it's kind of cool. Play some of the news clips, talk about that, things like that. So it would be cool with geopolitics, and if you're not familiar with all the countries in the world, we might try and do, that might be a good place to do education around that, or at least informing, right? That's all really it's about. A bit of opinion with it as well. It's kind of the idea. Playing some cool clips from parliaments and other things like that. Maybe Canada, UK, New Zealand, Australia, maybe some other places, around the world that are pretty interesting. So yeah. Trying to probably try and keep it pretty neutral, because YouTube's very left wing, and of course they, do political interference all the time. So with all their tactics that they use, so it'll be probably streaming at least on X social platform, which is not fully free over there. There's still a lot of left wing people there, but it's probably a lot better than on YouTube. That being said, of course, you guys know they got my Hex Token channel on X taken down for no good reason at all, and I've 6 times I've tried to get it back up, but no luck there. So I mean, there's still problems over on X, regardless of the fact that it is probably the best place other than was it Rumble is obviously full on free speech. What's the other one? There's another one that I signed up to. It's not too bad. I haven't used it for quite a while, but there's another one there that's not bad either. Anyway, let's get into it. Without further ado, let's go and let's move on into the stock market. Let's check that out. And bam. All right. So we've had these record stock markets just day after day virtually. But today we've got a bit of an easing, bit of a cooling, despite very good news about the CPI, or the inflation rate in the United States. So the CPI, Consumer Price Index, it is the second favorite of the inflation indicators that the Federal Reserve considers. It's probably more narrow in that sense. So yeah. But anyway, that came in good news. So this is boding really well for an interest rate pivot later in the year, probably September, hopefully. We've got the Dow Jones at the moment is up slightly, 32 points to 39,753. S&P 500, however, is down 0.9%, 49 points to 5,584. And the NASDAQ, they're down 1.9%. So a big move for the NASDAQ with all the tech companies in it, 358 points to 18,288. And the interesting one is that NVIDIA, was it number 2 most expensive in the world, maybe number 1? At least it was at some stage. The chip maker there, part of the AI theme, right? All that sort of stuff. NVIDIA falls 5.6%. So people were kind of expecting that to have a bit of a profit taking on that. So probably no surprise there. But in terms of inflation, we had data released on Thursday showing that the June Consumer Price Index fell 0.1% on a monthly basis instead of the expected 0.1% increase forecast. So that's really good news, beating expectations there and not increasing. Annually, it increased 3%, lower than expected 3.1%. So that's good. Remember, 2% is the target. I still think they need a range like we have in New Zealand, which is 1% to 3%. We used to have the 2% because we were the ones that created that idea of having 2% target, and all the other banks followed suit. But I do think moving to a range is a better idea, and 3%, which means you'd be at the top of that range if we had a 1 to 3% range, and so the US would already be there. The widely watched core figure, which excludes volatile food and energy components, just rose 0.1% on a monthly basis and gained 3.3% annually versus an estimated 3.4% increase. These figures added to expectations that the Federal Reserve could start cutting rates as soon as September and the next Fed policy setting meeting. So fingers crossed that is where we are. The main indices on Wall Street rallied on Wednesday to new record highs following positive comments from the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who noted recent cooling in the US economy, but felt confident that there would be a soft landing for the economy. That's good news, particularly better economy for if Trump wins the election, which he does look like on track to do. That would be very, very good. Powell, speaking on the second day of the semi-annual congressional testimony, told lawmakers on Capitol Hill on Wednesday that that more good data would build the case for the U.S. central bank to cut interest rates, and that's what we got with the CPI result today or yesterday. That said, a number of Fed officials have also expressed caution that they would need more evidence of cooling inflation before they vote for cuts. The inflation has remained above the bank's 2% target, and of its 3% still above that. So that is kind of the play there. Let's have a look at the current expectation for the market around September. So we'll go check that out. We've got 2 weeks and 5 days until the July meeting. We're expecting a no change there. You can see 92% of the market, no change on that one. But September is the earliest. And we can see September at the moment is, the vast majority of the market. Look at that. Wow. That's, 92.7% of the market expecting a rate pivot by September. That is super, super strong with the inflation data coming out. So fingers crossed. That's good news, right? And what that would mean, potentially that we get an interest rate pivot. That's good for cheaper people to borrow cheaper. They could invest more money into the stock market and things like that, crypto, obviously. The other thing, of course, is that it probably takes a bit of easing off mortgages that people are paying. We're probably at a tipping point in many cases for mortgagee sales and things like that. What else does it do? It allows, possibly the US dollar to devalue, and maybe commodities like silver and that start breaking out even more. Like they're already over $30 for silver. And maybe that really starts to rally, and those big targets of $100 eventually hit, maybe 18 months down the track. It could be pretty interesting to see that. So lots of different ramifications there for lower interest rates, and of course bullish for our bull run in crypto. So that pretty much leads us into the crypto markets. We've got BTC down at the moment 0.5%, $57,321. We've got Ethereum at the moment at 3,098. That is pretty much flat today, so that's holding up pretty well. And of course, we've got some green though. We've got a bit of mixed results. We've got some green though. XRP up 2.34%. We got ADA there up 1.68%. So we haven't seen a huge move in ADA, even though what's in about 3 days next week is probably the move. So maybe we'll see a move in ADA over the weekend, because remember on Monday, Tuesday, we've got the expected ADA Chang fork, which is going to bring voting and all sorts of other stuff there. So let's see whether we get a bit of a rally on ADA over the weekend. Still relatively low, 39 cents there at the moment. So let's see what happens there. Sometimes the markets don't do what you expect, and especially ADA can sometimes have that. It's going to have that disappointment there. Tron does that too. It's Tron at the moment up 2% at 13 cents. So there is a little bit of green there. Litecoin also is up 0.5% there, 67. And BNB, of course, is up 0.25% there, $525. And of course, we want BNB to rally, right? Because it's good for BNB Mafia, which we love playing as well. So kind of cool. That is the general market. Let's zoom in on Bitcoin a bit and see where we are at the moment. So since the Bitcoin halving, let's keep perspective here. Since the Bitcoin halving, we are now how many days? We're 83 days since the Bitcoin halving. So really getting towards that end of that 2-3 month volatility that we normally get. But this year is not a normal year to some degree. We have obviously got on the bullish side, we've got the Bitcoin ETFs, we've got the Ethereum ETFs potentially next week. So that's really, really huge. And of course, what else are we going to say about that? We've also had the Bitcoin halving obviously go together on that's on the bullish case. And normally after a halving, you have a rally come out there into the big bull market. Now on the negative, we've obviously had the Germans selling. They're pretty much down, I think, down to 20% of what they previously had of 50,000 Bitcoin. And of course, if they don't sell something, that normally comes back to the account. I think they're down to about $1 billion at the moment, so forth. About 12,000 Bitcoin or something like that from 50. They're almost out, and of course it's been redistributed, right? And we've seen big buyers come in. We've seen big buyers come into the market. So far so good, but we're still not back over the 200-day. The 200-day at the moment is sitting at 58,163, and we're currently at 57,295. So we're about $900 below that at the moment, which is nothing really in crypto, but psychologically over the 200-day moving average, pretty important. That being said, of course, we've got the Ethereum ETF, which is going to be more bullish probably for Ethereum. But we have seen quite a bit of resiliency here from Bitcoin at the moment. And we've got a little article here that talks about that Bitcoin dropped to 54,000 on the 9th of July. But a market participant purchased 10,000 coins valued at 540 million. So we've had definitely some big buyers come in and buy the dip, right? So that's kind of very, very, very cool. That's kind of where we are at the moment on that. I'm not going to read out the rest of this article, but it's got some, different indices about how many addresses are buying Bitcoin and all that sort of stuff. Kind of cool from that point of view. All right, so that is it on Bitcoin. It's holding up pretty well. In the meantime, the Runes protocol, which is kind of where the memes are happening on Bitcoin. Runes protocol was live with the fork as well. That's when it went live. It is like 2.0 compared to last year where we had BRC20s, ORC20s, which are still ticking away. But of course, this is kind of the next level technology. And we're picking Dog for the win. Now, Dog's really come back on the pullback. So a very good entry point now for Dog. We've got market cap, of $420 million and a 7.36 sats for Dog at the moment. So it just kind of makes sense to me that we're going to have the most valuable meme coin will be on Bitcoin. And of course, it's got the right leader, huge community, and of course, the big liquidity of Bitcoin behind it. So those are some of the key narratives there. Obviously, we know that chains like Solana and that are sort of dominating the meme coin space at the moment, and that's why we're going to talk about the Moonshot launchpad. But this is really looking for that to do a big win. Once it's got all these tier one exchanges still yet to launch, which some of them are adding their Runes protocol too. So could have a lot of big news flow coming up for Dog Go to the Moon. And literally, it is going to the moon apparently in October on one of the SpaceX rockets. So that could be pretty fun as well. Bank Nikomo dollar there up 6%. So it's kind of cool. That's kind of like a stable coin they're kind of trying to do there. Ryzik down 1.45%. Pups down 5.4%. Decentralized up at 2.5% almost. $1 billion cat down 2.8%. Lobo, which is another one of my favorite ones, is down 4.3% at the moment. And of course, Pepe Rune Bitcoin came out of nowhere. It is up into the top 10. And it is only down 2.65% after making that big push. It's $26 million market cap. Then number 10 is Rooney. That's come in at number 10. That's taken over from Satoshi Nakamoto, but it is down 12% today. And funny enough, Satoshi Nakamoto is up 3.5%. Now, Epic used to be in the top 10. That's dropped out to number 12, but is up 2.6% today. So maybe it's going to make a re-entry into that top 10 there as well. Let's see what else has gone there. The Donald Trump. That is made a big move, 39%. If you're going to pick up off a rune, there's tons. I think there's over 300 runes, meme coins, pretty much on the Runes protocol that have Donald Trump, and this is the number one, right? So number 20 here, Donald Trump. That could really make a move this bull market, like I said. These are all speculative, but a leverage play, and if it's got a nice theme to it, that might really make a big push. The market cap at the moment only 4.3 million. So with the election on the 5th of November, kind of makes sense that might do something really good there. But you do have to pick the top one, right? Because the smaller ones is like I said, over 300 runes with Trump or Donald or something like that. All right, the NFTs at the moment. Let's have a look at those on the Bitcoin. We can see that Runestone still holding number one by volume, and then we've got the rest of them there. A couple of leaders, Ordinal Maxis up 4%. And number 7 there, UniWorlds, which is a relatively new one, is up 11% as well. That sort of wraps up there some of the movers in the top 10. All right, so that is Magic King. If you want to go, that's number 1 DEX for runes on Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin's a slow chain, so you're either trading on DEXs, you got the 10-minute block times. So sometimes it can take 40 minutes. So just remember that. Sometimes it's cheap, sometimes it's expensive. So it is on Bitcoin. You'll need a specific wallet like Xverse wallet or a Unisat wallet or a Magic Eden wallet to connect Web3 and all that. So just take that into account, and it is very slow and expensive. It's probably not. It's more expensive than Ethereum is at the moment, but obviously not when Ethereum's really crushing it. So that is that at the moment. We've got Craig Pitt in the house there. Hey, morning all. Good to see you, Craig. Hope you're doing well. Wookie says silver $31.30. Yes, sir. Says Wookie. Yeah, silver there. I saw a couple of posts on X about people with their silver bags wanting to sell some silver, taking it down to I showed their bags with silver in it, taking it down because the silver's now over $30. But mate, it could be $100 by next year. We shall see with these interest rate pivots and the potential US devaluations. Let's see. All right, now that is it on the rune. So let's jump into Dog at the moment on the chart. So we're picking Dog for the big winner there. And of course, at the moment, it's at 40, just under 4,200th of a penny. Tried to make a little move today, but got pushed back down You can see the move that had got pushed all the way up to 47, almost 100th of a penny, and then got pushed back down again. Actually made a slightly lower low too, but pretty good zone there at the moment. Let's go to the daily on the old dog. So that is where we are at the moment. So we're kind of in this what was previously resistance, and hopefully we can bounce from that. It's a pretty critical point now. But like I say, tons of tier ones expected to launch at some stage in the near future. So we'll keep a lookout for that. All right, that is it on the centralized exchanges. So these runes are trading on centralized exchanges and on decentralized exchanges. So it's a big. It just seems like a no-brainer for the bull market ahead on Bitcoin to have its own big meme season, of course, with the right leadership and huge community and fat liquidity. It just seems like a no-brainer. Ethereum at the moment is at 3,107. It is above the 200-day moving average. As Brennan, our TA guru, put out yesterday, it is above the 200-day moving average, which is at $3,085. We're currently at 3,106, so looking very good for Ethereum. And of course, the big news is that we've got the Ethereum ETF expected potentially next week, maybe the 18th is the target date from Balkahunas, the Bloomberg analyst. So that's ticking away there for next week. So things are actually looking pretty good, right? 6 days away from that. And maybe Ethereum starts to, move up relative to Bitcoin, and we get a bit of an altcoin season start to flourish as well. That's going to be good for meme coins and I guess popular utilities and things like that. And a really good GameFi, no doubt. Maybe like the Mafias. We did have this convergence between the 50-day and the 200-day with the yellow line and the blue line. We have it again here, but maybe we might be able to be saved by the Ethereum ETF. That could be pretty cool. We know July, August are typically like a 50-50 month, but we are going to be 4 or 5 months since the Bitcoin halving by that time, and maybe that is typically when we take off and based on previous halvings. So things could be a bit different this year. Now we've got JP Morgan is feeling that. JP Morgan says Bitcoin and crypto markets will rebound in August. So there we go. That is pretty bullish from them. Now, obviously, you can criticize them whether are they really good crypto analysts or not. But the reality is that they have big client lists. They have big client lists, and they probably have some influence of the capital flow into ETFs and things like that. Obviously, we have a lot of big individuals using the ETFs. And of course, we want that to broaden into more institutional buying as well. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But they're pretty bullish on a rebound in August. So things could look really good. October, of course, is typically September is typically a negative month. So maybe we have a good month in August, and then we have a negative month in September, and then October onwards it's just up and away. That's kind of how I feel like it's going to play out at the moment. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. So then we've got the ETF next week, like I say, expected potentially the 18th of July. So that's a Thursday. So that's pretty much it at the moment on that. Obviously, if we go further out, we've got interest rates. Looks like good for a pivot into 10th of September. We get that. So we got boom. September might be a bit of a profit taking. And we got the interest rates in September. So maybe that just negates negative September. We've had, in the history of Bitcoin, we've had 2 green months in September for that. But most of them have been negative returns. But maybe this time we don't. Maybe we just get bounced from one good thing to another good thing with a little bit of profit taking on the way. And then, of course, we get into the US election. And, of course, Trump is crypto positive now. In fact, almost crypto crazy, which is kind of cool. And that could be really bullish. So we get interest rate pivots. We've got Ethereum bringing new money. The demand side just goes through the roof. People borrowing to buy crypto, all that sort of stuff. The markets go green, and all the retail starts coming in it, and your grandma's buying Bitcoin, that sort of stuff. The U.S. election is good. We got pro-Trump. He gets rid of maybe the SEC. He guts the SEC, and of course he puts in, with the Congress puts in good legislation pro-crypto. Maybe he's talked about potentially backing the US dollar with Bitcoin, for goodness sake. So imagine all that, then game on, right? Into the bull market 25. Man, it could last quite long. So very excited. He gets the economy back on track in terms of supply and demand, and game on there. So really positive there. Now, the only negative overhang, of course, is Mt. Gox and maybe a few other little Bitcoin holders out there. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. All right, so that is looking pretty good. So good news all around. Now, one thing I just want to talk about before we get to Pulsechain is on Deck Screener. You may or may not have seen it. So if you have, then that's cool. But if you haven't, then hopefully this is showing you Deck Screener has put Moonshot on. Now, this is not based on Pulsechain. It's pretty much on Solana, I think, for most of these, if not all of them. But they do have a launch pad there. It's sort of hidden away at the top there. So if you go to the top of all the chains, see all the chains, you've got Pulsechain down the bottom here somewhere. Well, it's just very much at the top there, and it's got new written on it. You can just click on it, and it will bring you up a lot of these projects that are sort of, it looks like they're minting out or something, and you can go check them out. You can just click on any of them, and you can potentially buy them on the chain. You've got to be careful, like anything. They're just like all risky cryptos. But, there'll be some winners in there, and no doubt this might, be very, very popular. Since on Deck Screener, I don't know, pretty much Deck Screener must be dominating the decentralized markets. But that's some of the tokens there. You can read them all up, and you can potentially participate. Obviously, use DGM wallets and all that sort of stuff. But it has top categories, rising categories, all that sort of stuff. Has some of the leaders at the top there as well. And it may be an avenue of you finding some new projects that you want to take a bit of risk on. That's kind of where it is at the moment. Just want to highlight that one. That was going to lead us into Pulsechain. Before we do, let's see who else has jumped in the chat. We've got Tintop in the house there. What's up, Mexican? So good to see you, Tintop. Hope you're doing well. We got Drix in the house as well. Where's Drix? Drix is here somewhere. Where's Drix? I can't see Drix there. I can see Drix's comments. All right, so there's Drix in the house there. Who else do we got? Hexavator as well. I hope you're doing well, Hexavator, and working hard. He's actually one of the few people in the US that's actually building infrastructure in the United States. So big shout out to you, Hexavator. Now, the United States needs trillions of dollars of infrastructure reinvestment. The Democrats did some sort of bill, I think, with the Republicans, but it was just a sham. Most of the money's gone through to teachers' unions and all sorts of their stakeholders. And the US is still going to be left without a lot of infrastructure. It needs a whole country just about needs to be redone with the infrastructure. And let me know if you're in the United States how my characterization of the US infrastructure is. But we're talking about roads and bridges. You let me know. I'm sure a lot of the concrete's all cracked up and all this sort of stuff. But big fan of the United States, of course. But man, the infrastructure needs to be redone. It's comes around. The infrastructure lasts 40 years, 50 years, or whatever. Maybe 20 years for street concrete. I don't know, but that certainly needs to be redone. And hopefully when Trump gets in, they can actually do that properly and actually get the things all making flash and new. And then, man, that would be an industrial boom in the United States. You get control of energy. That's the first thing you want to do when you're running a country. You got to get energy going right. You got to get your currency right, and then your monetary policy, and then you can start doing infrastructure. You do that right, and then of course you do all the other stuff, the tech and everything else on top of that. So it's it's pretty straightforward. But we have most of the politicians we get in are really stupid. It's just the way it goes. All right, that is it. Let's get into it. Let's go to Pulsechain and let's see what we're up to. We got a green day, folks. A green day for day 426 on Pulsechain. We got Pulse up quadruple 0404, up 5.3%. 40% of the mean sacrifice price is still huge amount of upside to Pulsechain. Obviously, we have the SEC versus Richard Hart thing over us, but of course we got that news out, and now the market's kind of bounced back. The other thing, of course, is we've got Richard Hart's reply in August. We'll talk about that in a minute. PulseX at the moment is quadruple 0192, up 6.42%, so even better than Pulse. The buy and burn is up at 918.3 billion. So we're heading towards 1 trillion, and that is 4.54% of the total public supply of PulseX. So that's going very, very nicely. Thank you. The incentive token is at $2.04, up 8.17%. So really, we've got 5.3% of that being the Pulse price, and just under 3% being the ratio. And the ratio to Pulse is back over 50,000 at 50,397. So that's looking really, really hot. Once again, if you haven't done our poll on either the Hex Token channel or Superman Crypto, fill those out at the moment. We've got 17 votes on Hex Token, and we've got no votes here on Superman Crypto, but you never know. We might get some there. We got the Hex Token at the moment is at just under 4,900th of a penny, almost 0.5% again. And that is up 9.1% is the best performer. But of course, it's been the one that's been most down at the moment. So it's good to see a winning performance there to date, 9.1%. Super duper cheap on Hex. And I've been saying this the last couple of days in particular. And of course, EHEX there at 1300 a penny, no change. It's been like that for a couple of days now. The combined price of EHEX and PX though is at 6200th of a penny. Yeah, boy, super cheap, Hex, Hex, Hex. I've heard some people, on X, some people on YouTube talking about the Hex, and they really like Hex and they want to pick up more Hex. So there's still lots of support for Hex out there, particularly amongst the retail books. So yeah, kind of cool. Now, funnily enough, there's a bit of a hater of Pulsechain. I don't normally talk about Pulsechain. He's been taking profits on shorting Pulsechain and doing quite successful. And funny, he got out yesterday. Good thing he did, because he would have got, that would have come back on him today if he'd still been in there. But anyway, that's how it goes. Let's look at the Pulse charts on the daily. The RSI, we talked about this yesterday, bouncing out of this level. It did do that, 37, and we've got a good day in the office. And the price is back over 4,000, which is really, really important. So kind of cool. Let's go to the weekly on Pulse. And the weekly on Pulse here is looking a bit better. We're right at the bottom still, though, right? So we've still got lots of room to move on this. So you could make a lot of money if we get this rally on the upside. 32 is on the index. We talked about Richard yesterday posting out that post yesterday. And, of course, look what happened today. All right? I actually didn't bring up Richard Hart's post today. But let's bring that up. It's probably a good time to talk about Richard Hart's comments. Normally, Richard Hart says something, something happens. It kind of does. So, yeah, let's have a look at his comments that he made. Let's go all the way down there. This was on the 11th here. The Pulsechain price is almost down to the SEC compliant week low, not financial advice. Past performance is no guarantee. And here we are now. Look, pretty green. So, nice there. Nice on that one. Thanks, Richard. We all like that. Kind of cool. What else has he been saying? He's been talking about the Bitcoin, and what else there? Let's have a look. Talking about some hacks that are out there. Talking about how good Pulsechain is at the moment with the front ends. Being able to be safe rather than get hacked. So it's kind of cool. From Richard, yeah, pretty neat. All right. So anyway, that is Pulsechain. But let's get into the daily again, because I want to talk about the roadmap coming up. Obviously, with the news that we're expecting. Am I on the daily? Yeah. Where's my charts gone? Did I put it on PulseX or what? Oh yeah, I did. I put it on Pulse. That's where I was from. I wonder why that disappeared. All right, let's go full mode here on Pulsechain, and we'll pull that back. So we had the SEC motion to dismiss that got received by Richard's lawyers. That was on the 8th of July, and of course we got Richard Hart's expected reply. The 22nd of August, I believe. So RH response to the motion to dismiss. Coming up there. And of course, we talked about this yesterday, but Richard did a call out for people to do amicus briefs, which are pretty much third party people. It's anybody that's not involved directly in the court case, which is the defendant, which is Richard, and Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex, and of course the plaintiff, which is the SEC, right? So that's but third parties can go and do amicus brief, and they might bring up some good ideas that can be argued for dismissal. I think there's lots of good ideas to be argued for dismissal. So we'll see what happens there with that. Ultimately, if once that's happened, so that could be a real bullish event, and we might see even the charts to get bullish in there too. That'd be in August, of course, when the rebound is expected by Morgan Stanley. So we might see some action on Pulsechain in here. So this really might have been the low. So we'll keep a lookout for that. This might have been the low here as we lead up. Now, that being said, we do have oral arguments expected 22nd of October. That obviously could be a negative event, or at least a neutral event as we move through there. That's going to be in October. However, if we're going to get this bull market really started in October, then this could, which is normally the best month pretty much in crypto, besides I think February. So that could be hyper bullish. And normally this is miles after the Bitcoin halving, so we could be well into it by October. It could be really, really exciting. So maybe it's not so bad there, or we just get slightly left behind. We'll see. But definitely, I think there's some money to be made in here. Kind of cool. All right, the PulseX on the daily, we can see that we bounced at 1920. So kind of cool, where we had a bit of resistance before in this zone here. Was now hopefully provide some support. We're going to keep a lookout for these crosses here, the yellow versus the blue, and that's the 13-day versus 34, and hopefully get a cross in there. We're getting the green candles for it. So fingers crossed we can move higher there. The RSI on the daily is better than Pulsechain, 42, and has been for some time. We've also got a higher low in here on the weekly. So if we look at the weekly here, got a higher low, and maybe that's game on from there. And the RSI is down at 37. So everything's looking pretty good there to some degree. We put a little line down here too. It's kind of maybe we get a bit of that going on, and of course into this period we might actually have a bit of a takeoff in the market, and we may just continue to go up in that direction, right? So have we got a little arrow bar? There's a little arrow bar. I don't know if I've got one here, but do I have a little arrow? I'm not sure. Little pictures. I've forgotten where the pictures are, but anyway, you get the idea. I'll have to look out for the pictures next time. But we could have a bit of an arrow going up there. So fingers crossed. Look what we might be at the bottom here. A good chance of it. That being said, the SEC is still a bit an issue. Like I say, but I think the next two events are actually either bullish or neutral. So we shall see. All right, PulseX still looking pretty good, those higher lows. Incentive token, the ratio, look at that. Woo-hoo! Hot dog and a dog. This is the weekly. And look at that. That looks pretty good. The RSI, not bad at all, 53. The ratio to Pulse, we're at 50,400. Sitting very, very nicely in this band, as you can see. And that's looking really, really good. So now this yellow line up here, if we break out of that, then we've got a massive breakout, man. It could be really, really big. That's 71,000 on the ratio. So fingers crossed for that. Performing like a boss. Hex at the moment has been the cheapest one. It's been the really one on discount sale. But nice little green there. Look at a bounce in the RSI on the daily for Hex on Pulsechain. And nice little recovery there. Was this the bottom? That's the question. 4300th of a penny there 2 days ago. And we've got a brand new candle now. So fingers crossed. Looking good. Always going to be a bottom somewhere, no doubt, right? So that is what the chart looks like on the weekly at the moment. So what an absolute steal here to pick up tons of volume of Hex for the move up forward. So there we go. EHEX at the moment, just been kind of moving sideways, up slightly today at just over 1300th of a penny, being down to about 1200th of a penny, but RSI not too bad. Excuse me, 46 there, a bit of the hiccups there. And let's look at the weekly. That's the weekly chart there at the moment. So quite a way to go to the BankX wall, 7/10 of a penny. I'm presuming that's still there. I haven't really checked for some time. That is it at the moment. Let's go into the rest of the stats here. Gas prices at the moment, 126,000 beats, so super cheap on Pulsechain to do transactions, and that's 2/10 of a penny at the moment. 100th of a penny for a Pulsecoin transfer, 300th of a penny for a PRC20 transfer. Looking at the validators, which is still a very good time to get your Pulsechain. If you want to get 32 million Pulse and sit and being validated as a more conservative passive income, that's definitely an opportunity. 32 million, quite cheap at the moment, 40% of the mean sacrifice price. 48,320 validators and 1.55 trillion in there. That's almost been like that for 2 months. So we really have been doing pretty well with that. The bridge, which is what we've been looking at, is up. Yay! We're at what, 94.3 million or something like that yesterday. 95.7 million today. So good news there. DAI has still not recovered yet. 27.3 million. Still not recovered there yet though. Obviously the ETH is pretty mixed today, pretty flat. Our EHEX is pretty flat as well, and the wrap Bitcoin pretty flat down there. But we've had obviously some more money coming in. I've actually deleted my baseline, so I don't know what numbers that was, but we're actually up a little bit today, so that's kind of cool. All right, that leads us into the rest of the markets. Hex derivatives. Let's see what's the best performer. Trio, the 3-year Hex mining pool there from Dipcatcher and Golki, up 10.6%. We haven't heard a lot from them lately, have we? I don't know. I haven't seen a lot from them lately. Desi, the 10-year one, up 9.3%. Lucky is up 8.9% as well on Hex Move. Nice. So congratulations if you're holding those, and you'll be quite relieved, I guess, as well. Lucky, the 7-year one is up 8.9%. Maxi, the 15.2-year one, is up 6%, and Hedron there as well is up. Now we've got other communities are linking into these tokens, right? So we've got the Gearheads have got stuff linking into Hedron and things like that, I think. So there is lots of little mechanics out there, trying to get stuff off the market and lift the prices. So there's those sort of mechanisms sitting behind some of these tokens. Let's look at the stable coins. We've got PDI making a bit of a move, up 15.5%, finally waking up from the ashes there. Man, it could be a big rally off this. You've got to keep an eye on these sort of ones. They're speculative, so you got to allocate risk capital to it, but up at 2,300 a penny. Let's see if it can make another run for that 1 cent mark. And let's have a look on the that's the daily, isn't it? Let's go full screen mode on this, and let's get rid of the RSI. Is pretty much bouncing on the bottom there, so it's a good indicator that that's going to probably bounce up at some stage. But let's have a look on the daily. I haven't got to auto log that. That's the auto log, and look at that. So yeah, wow, this is what I thought we might do, a bit of a U cup here and then back up. But given the fact that we had this negativity on SEC and stuff and Pulsechain there, then yeah, it's been down. But man, we're bouncing from this range here. We're going to bounce from there. We had quite a bit of support there, and then move up to take that 1 cent. It's going to be interesting to see that. Let's have a look on the other one that's speculative, but a fun one to follow is the LUSD, and that is currently up as well, 7.8%. So like I said, $150 thrown at that. See how you go. It's got minting capped apparently, and it's burning through something pretty close to the buy and burn on Pulsechain so far. Can they burn through 90 to 95% of it within 5-6 months? We'll see. But it's going to be fun to follow that one. Sometimes when you put $150 in something, you can end up doing some mad gains. We'll see though. Let's go to influencers, and of course the influencers there. The best performer is more token from Trayvon, who's been quite quiet these days, I think, but that's under 12 cents at the moment. Access Alive is up 7.7% at $9,300. A Nope token for Randy Halaski is performing very well, isn't it? Nope token, and a big shout out to Randy out there and his No Permissions group. He's got up 5.9% today at 0.3 of a penny. So I've been pretty impressed with the Nope token one. That's been doing pretty well. The chart sort of speaks to itself. I mean, it's doing pretty well now, especially in the Pulsechain climate, having a chart that has this sort of structure. So kind of neat. Well done there, Randy. And of course, Maddie Allen's is at $1.16, up 5.6%. Solid X, which is Randy's whale friend, isn't it? Solid X. He helped draw a lot of people from, I think like Solana and Chains into Solid X when he had the big breakout, to $200 or whatever. $25 at the moment, up 5%. Steve Hitson there, Scuba Steve, up 4% as well. And Paul Pleb there from Hexy Bastard is up 3.8%. And we saw a bit of move yesterday on the 9-inch exchange, didn't we? And the BVC token, the incentive token there. So a bit of action there. Ben Armstrong, however, formerly the biggest crypto influencer in the world, he's trying to climb back and he's doing a good job there. Talks about Pulsechain, of course. He's got his Ben V1 copy, Pulsechain copy, and his new token, the Bromance one there with Richard Hart, and they're up slightly as well. So they might make a big move in the future if he talks more about it. I haven't been watching his shows, so I don't know if he talks much about his own bromance, but we'll see. Maybe he will when the Pulsechain goes green, how things go. Let's go into the overall markets on Pulsechain before we get into BNB. And before we get into PulseMafia, my bad, we'll check it out. So at the moment, good news. Well, it's so news. We've got 10.4 million in volume, so it's pretty low still. Even with the green candles, we're still pretty low on the volume, which is a good opportunity for you guys out there to pick up some more goodness. We've got 220,000 transactions at the moment. The top performer there is Orange Man Good, so the Tangang out there as well. I've seen mixed discussions about Tangang stuff, so I'm a no drama channel, so we'll leave that for the time being. We've got BFF there is up 29%. Teddy Bear is up 18% there. Some of the leaders. Their Rat as well is up 14%. You guys, if you watch the daily show here, you always see these coins up, so there's no use talking about them. If you want to investigate them, you can. We're not endorsing any particular coin, but just talking about what is up today. Rat's up 14%. Pika's up 14%. So a lot of sort of meme coin tokens up there. Now, first utility token is a loan token. That's the top there at 10.66%. The utility tokens, they haven't been really talked enough about. The loan token, the Power Cities, the liquid loans, the famous, all those sort of things. We haven't talked about that much lately. They've kind of been put aside a bit more for the influencer coins or the meme coins, but they'll have their day in the sun when Pulsechain starts rolling up. They'll re-rate all the way back up there. So don't miss out on those utility coins like the ones I just mentioned. UFO is up 10% related to PDDC. And of course, I do think that that's doing very, very well. So you can see PDC, the grays, is also another good one there, 9%. So definitely some good ones here. Maybe I should do a video on what I think. I have done these in the past, what I think the best ones to pick up for when we get a bit of a rally on, right? So some coins that you think are doing well now don't do well when the rally's on because money flows back into the blue chips, right? That flows back into the blue chip ones here. So those are some of the leaders there on the trending. Looking at the tops, probably not much different, but liquidity is a little bit, the volume is a little bit lower. on the volume, on top volumes. But we can see a few different leaders there. Ice there is at the moment. Yeah, a couple of, whatever that one is. I don't know what that was, but you know, see a little bit of difference. Wrap Bitcoin up 17%. Solid X, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so Wrap Bitcoin making a bit of a move too. All right, so that's kind of it for the old Pulsechain markets. So green across the board, some really nice moves there today on some of those assets. Let's get into PulseMafia, which is obviously we're co-hosting the syndicate. And so let's get into that today. It's just had an update today as well. You may have noticed that if you were trying to get onto PulseMafia, but it did have an update, and we're going to talk about that. At least the one that I've discovered. At least the one I've discovered. All right, so let's go to PulseMafia. Currently, the price here at the moment is at 1.1. So kind of cool. In fact, I'm gonna copy that, and bam, let's put that in there. And we had an update just earlier before the day's end, so that was kind of in this zone here in hidden inventory. So this is the big update we've had. Hidden inventory, and so the stuff is actually hidden now. So it was activated, but you could still see the stuff, so it's now been hidden now. If you have to have Player Plus for that, so it's important. But anyway, the price has kind of been moving sideways for 3 days. I just started our 3rd day here. We're at 1100th of a penny at the moment, so really good entry to get in on PulseMafia. If you want to pick up some PulseMafia on Pulsechain, then check. You know, this is it here. So what are you going to do? Mafia on Pulsechain, PLS chain, let's say. You can pick that up there. Bam, bam, bam. That is it there. If you want to pick up some Mafia. Anyway, 5% slippage, 4% buy tax, feeds the vault right, 16.6% sell tax. And of course, you need 20% slippage for that. But of course, you can either speculate or you can participate in the game. You can stake it if you get into a family or things like that. So, or you can buy stuff on the market. There's lots of things you can do with the MAID token. There's only 1 billion, remember, and a lot of it is staked now, or 30-something% is staked, and about 10% in the team wallet, etc., etc. So there's a lot off the market. All right, Mafia on BNB Mafia. That's had a big sell-off overnight. Already had a slippage there, but really good entry on the old BNB side. 0002170. And of course, we must have had some big seller come in at that stage. Remember, 20% of that goes into the Mafia Vault. So the Mafia Vault would have got, or 16.6% goes to the Mafia Vault. So the Mafia Vault would have got some nice little dividends into there from the sell down. And the cool thing is that the Vault gets bigger with the sell down of any particular large holder. So probably some large holder came in. But the positive news is that the new people buying get a really good value, and they can become real big Mafia whales, right? So that's the other thing. So if you want to pick up Mafia on BNB, that's definitely an opportunity you could consider. So Mafia on a BNB chain, and bam, there it is there. All right, that is it. So those are the 2 Mafia coins that are ticking away, one on Pulsechain, one on BNB. And let's go to the actual chain at the moment. We're going to go to players. Pulsechain, we got 778 players on Pulsechain. 17 crime families, and the vault has now got 3.82 billion pulse in it. Crazy, man. That vault's getting big, big, big. There are leaders at the moment in terms of players. Top players worth 32,422. That's Giffordware, retaken back place number 1 from Nunzia, who was holding number 1 there for quite some time. Let's go to the families. Top family is still the syndicate. In fact, it's moving ahead a little bit, starting to break away just a little bit more. And of course, that's led by the most famous Don of all the Mafia game, Capone Archie, our very own Archie. He's our Don. And of course, as you guys know, I'm in the syndicate. Big shout out to everybody in the syndicate family. We've got the Gearheads sitting at number 2. They've just hit over 300,000 on the worth. So that's just happened just before the live stream or during it. We've got the Yakuza, this mysterious family, at number 3. We've got the Salamancas at number 4 there. The Hustlers at number 5 with Lit Gains running that one. And in number 6, we've got the Mugnows, Grand Clan number 7, and Original Gangsters number 8. Those are all in the paid positions. So every week, the vault will, once the game starts, will pay out 10% of the vault to these top families. The top 5 are guaranteed payments of that 10%. So the top family will get 30% out of that 10%, etc., all the way down to the bottom family getting 10%. But if the vault gets bigger the following week, then these other 3 conditional payouts will get paid. That's how the way I understand it's going to work. And then, of course, we've got all the rest of the families, vying underneath that for one of those spots. So it's going to be crazy, crazy. All right. Now, what I wanted to point out was that if you go into, let's go into Nunzio. He's got a Family Plus, so they're one of the Family Plus families. In other words, over 50% have got Player Plus situations. And if he hasn't activated, so you can still see his inventory. If he had activated his Player Plus, he will get I guess there's a little box or something over here. He will get to activate that, and you can't see that now, but he gets to activate that and turn the hidden feature on. Now you can see he's not activated yet, so you can still see his stuff. And so this is his players' assets. But if you jump over to someone else, for example, let's try Don Mug now, see if he's also got Family Plus and Player Plus. You see he's activated. See that? It's private. So this is a new upgrade, just happened before the live stream, and you can't see his inventory anymore. So that is hidden. So I guess if you're trying to target him, you don't know how much stuff he's got. Has he moved his stuff? All sorts of stuff like that. But he is that has just been activated today. So it's game on now. And of course, you can see everything in the inventory is at risk. In other words, if he gets killed, goes to the player that kills him. And of course, the one here, this is his wallet. This is safe. Anything in your wallet is safe. So this stuff here, this Mafia tokens, is safe. So that's kind of how that works. So that's just been enabled. Kind of cool. Yeah, very, very cool indeed. So some people don't have Player Plus, so they don't have that ability to hide their inventory. So they're still going to be vulnerable. So let's look for something. Let's see if Gucci's got his on Player Plus. Gucci is the Don. He does not have Player Plus. And of course, you can see all of his stuff in his wallet. So he would be vulnerable for attack, right? Because people will be after his armored car, after his OGs, after his bullets. So he could be quite vulnerable in the game. See how that works? That's pretty much it. So that's a new feature on the game. And this is in the lead up to it launching, right? So we're still in phase 5 plus of 12 stages, right? So we're still, heading along there. We're expecting the map in about 2 weeks or so. So the map is going to be a major stage in the game, and it's going to change strategies potentially and things like that, or at least inform a lot of people about who's who and how strong they are and stuff like that from a family point of view. At the moment, you can only see that only a couple of families have reached Family Plus. You need 50% of your players to have a Player Plus. So let's go into the syndicate, and you can see that if you go down to the players at the bottom here, you can see all these people with the plus sign and the golden worth have all got Player Plus. In other words, they've swapped their OG NFT that they got. So they've swapped that so they've swapped one of these OG NFTs here for the upgrade. And so the OG NFT gets burned and so forth. So the only way you can get those now is by buying them off the market to upgrade to Player Plus. You can see one here. You could buy $74 to buy one at the moment. So they've definitely come down in price with the market sentiment. And so you can actually do that much cheaper now than you could have when they're up at $250, for example. All right. You can actually click on one of them and decide whether you're going to upgrade to Player Plus. You can actually buy them. You can see the market price here as well. You got all the way up to $250, all the way down. Now this is the cheapest pretty much that you can get them right now. So pretty cool. And that's probably because we've got one person that's selling a lot at the moment because some of the whales have lots of these, but there's not that many that's still left. 1,600. There was 1,700, so there's only like 600 left so from the looks of it. So there we go. All right. Always opportunities in the game, right? Always opportunities, always cycles in the game. And also supply and demand moves around a lot. And we haven't even started the game yet. So some of the highlights there. Obviously, you can still buy crates. Crates are a big deal in the game. The $20. So you can use PulseX incentive or eDine. You can keys, I should say. You can buy keys in the game. You can use the keys to open up crates. That's the right way of talking about it. Now, they're still winning. You can still win up to 5 million Mafia at the moment. So 5 million Mafia, that would be worth, how much is that worth at the moment? 5 million, 5, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's worth $5,500. That's the top prize if you open up a crate. Could cost you $20, and you could win $5,500. How about that? Not bad. And obviously not including the taxes that you have to pay if you try to sell it, which is 16.6%. OG NFTs, you can win those too. Obviously a big deal for Player Plus and stuff like that, all the perks. And then, of course, you can open up keys, up to 100 keys you might win, which would be a major prize. And, of course, we saw lit gains from the Hustlers. He's the Don there, and, of course, Influencer. But he won 50 keys on live stream, which was pretty amazing. On his very last key, by the way. Which is pretty crazy. Now the market's operating. The market's really doing well. Obviously, with prices going through different up, boom, and bust cycles, we're really, moving high here. $122,000 in sales. 2,074 items sold so far. The total fee is 107 million Pulse. So for an NFT market on Pulsechain, doing very, very well indeed. And I know that people are looking at this market every day, are looking for bargains. So kind of cool, doing well there. All right. And of course, the crates and the markets, they feed the vault, as well as the buy and sell taxes. So these buy and sell taxes, 4.7% buy tax, 16.6% sell tax, they all feed the vault. And at the moment, look at this, 3.82 billion Pulse is in the pool, $155,000. Now, if Pulse doubles in price, goes from 4,000 to 8,000, then you got $310,000 sitting in the vault there. That's just if the price doubles. Obviously, the Pulse is going up every day as well. And you can see the biggest contributors are the keys. The keys are contributing about 56% of all the revenue that's gone into the vault from the taxman. And of course, 42% is from the taxman. That's the buy and sells on the market. And then the marketplace, they're adding another 3% to the value with people buying and selling. I remember only Pulse is taxed on there 20%. Feeding the vault. So looking pretty good. And those are all nice uptrends on the charts. So everything is working pretty well from the vault's point of view. Yeah, what else are we going to say about that? Obviously, there's a game wiki. You can check that out as well. Let's click on. Let's sign on here. I've been signed on, but let's do it. Let's sign on. Now, the thing is, what you need for this to play, you just need to connect your wallet, get started. You're going to need 2,000 Mafia to play. So if you do want to play, then you need 2,000 Mafia to set up a player. And you can play on Pulsechain and BNB. You just have to toggle over. So that if you go to the top right, there's the BNB and the Pulsechain. So you can play on both. You just have to swap your wallet around so you can use BNB or Pulse. That's pretty much it. So that is BNB Mafia. Check it out. It is pretty much the #1 GameFi on Pulsechain. It's probably going to get bigger and bigger. Yeah. Let's see who else has jumped into the chat here. Scroll up. Let's get back up there. We've got the Hex Vader, property review in house there. Thanks for the Richard Hart update. You're most welcome there, property review. We've got Brennan as well, our TA guru in house there. Howdy, folks. Hope you're doing well there, Brennan. And Crypto Fury as well. Hello. Good to see you, Crypto Fury. He's a syndicate member. Biden just created many more memes in this press conference. Yeah, I did see that. So Biden, this is a ridiculous thing. So our Prime Minister of New Zealand is he's what they call it from the National Party. He is it's kind of I would say it's a center right on economics, and it's a center left on progressivism, social stuff, which is terrible for us because they're doing all this sort of crazy stuff in New Zealand. But he went and had met President Biden, and he said, he was very good to talk to, very coherent and all this sort of stuff. And of course, it was utter nonsense, right? And then he ends up, Biden goes on the speech introducing Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine. And of course, he goes and he welcomes Putin to the stage. Of course, it wasn't. It was Zelensky of Ukraine. And it just shows you that it's another gaffe that he's doing constantly. Because obviously he's got, some sort of dementia and other things or whatever he's got. So, yeah. That was hilarious. It's just like our Prime Minister lying about how he was coherent and all that sort of stuff like that. So that was a real negative. Yeah, that was a good one, says Furio. VP Trump, says Brennan. He's cooked, says Brennan. Yeah, he is indeed. Baked more like it, says Wookie. All hail the gerontocracy. Yeah, well, Trump's Trump's doing great. He's lucid and he moves. He plays golf. Trump's doing fine. It's only the Biden that's needs to step down. DG and Hexkin in the house there, 5555, 100%. That's looking good there. Well, those 555s are getting closer, right? Well, we're almost up to 5 years. So another 10 years on that. People that have got 10 years, of course, we might see some of them at the end of this year. Maybe they're going to in-stake 50%. We should see T-shares go down quite a bit on that sort of move. It'll be interesting to see that, depending on where Hex is at as well. All right, so anyway, that is the vault. Isn't it fantastic? Let's add up the two vaults together, given the fact that we just had a bit of a boom. So let's go. So the crates, definitely crates, $20. You could win some of these big prizes. Definitely worth checking out. Kind of cool. Let's go to the vault there. So we've got, what's the vault on Pulsechain? The vault on Pulsechain is 155,000. So 155.6K plus we'll add up the BNB vault. Just going to switch over here. Now, let's see what the vault is over here. Before we go to the vault, let's do the vault first. And you got 114.75 BNB. So really nice. Those sales in the market last night, filling up the vault quite a bit there. For some reason the website's not updating here, probably because I changed over too much or something. 114.75. I'm not even sure what the price is on that. Let's go to the coin market cap. We'll do it manually. We'll do it manually since there seems to be a bit of a UI issue there. Let's go down to the BNB. And we're going to just type in, we're typing 114, 115 BNB. Let's just do 115. 115. Oh, let's start again. 115. 60,000.4. So plus 60.4. And that gives us a brand total. Wow. I'm going to put that out on X today because that's really cool. We got 216,000 US dollars now in the combined Pulsechain and BNB Vault for Mafia game. That is so cool. And that's a big jump actually overnight, obviously with the that price pullback. Kind of cool. Players on BNB at the moment. We got 856 players, 16 crime families, and like I say, almost 115 BNB. Top crime families at the moment. The OG is still holding #1 spot. In fact, they've actually moved away a little bit there, up at 125,000. So well done to Lucky. We always joke in the syndicate about eventually we'll have this title on our video. It says the unlucky life and death of Lucky. I love that. The unlucky life and death of Lucky. It's hilarious to me. We got the syndicate #2 holding over 100,000 and doing pretty well there by the Capone. Watch the space on this. The game is not over yet. We're looking for that #1 spot, so stick out. #3 is the Mugnails. They're down at like what, number 7, 8 over on Pulsechain. They're at #3 over here, so they're getting paid over here. The Dong Mugnail. The Akusa, this mysterious family at #4. The Illuminati, also globalists, there at #5. And then, of course, we got #6, 7, and 8, the Costa Nostras, the Peaky Blinders, and the OG Sopranos there as well. Now, we do have a BNB influencer in the game, a Crypto Pride, so a big shout out to him. He's still at 4 members in this group, and that is pretty much it. And then, of course, the rest of the families down here. So ticking away. Only one of them has Family Plus, which is the OG Gangsters. How close is the syndicate getting? Let's have a quick look at that while we're here. As well. It's public information, so no Brad. 30.8% there at the moment. So if you are a syndicate member over there, remember to upgrade to Player Plus. You might have to buy an OG NFT if you don't have one. You guys know. Hit people up in the Discord or Telegram if you want to get one too. Might be one way of doing it. But OG at the moment, you can still buy them over here on the marketplace. Now, the marketplace at the moment on the BNB chain, $4,900 in volume. 70 items sold, 4.6 BNB. So obviously it's a lot smaller over here, probably about a fifth the size, fourth of the size of the volume. And what else? We got that's the marketplace. Crates, of course, you can still buy crates. Keys. I always keep saying crates all the time. Keys for BNB, USD Tether, and USDC at $20. That feeds the vault, remember, but also gives you a chance to use that key to win some big prizes. Now the thing about BNB is that the businesses are still there. 51% of the businesses are still there. And so you can grab a lot of these, including a lot of the better ones, the slots, the roulettes, and the bullet factories. So it is still big upside over there. In addition, you've still got the Mafia, the OGs, and the keys, and the rest of the game assets that you might want to pick up too. But the businesses are there. So there's a lot of upside there. And all the Mafia is there as well. 50 million. None of it's been won so far, whereas about 10 million or so has been won over on Pulsechain. It is all still sitting here on BNB. So lots of opportunities on the BNB Mafia side there. The crates, the Mafia, and of course the same taxes, different contract that's on BNB chain. And of course, Pancake Swap is where you can buy that. But usual 5 and 20% slippages there. And it all feeds the vault, of course. And so game on. So yeah, it's going to be fun. 2 battles on each chain, different families and different personalities. It's going to be a lot of fun to see their play out. And, of course, the top players over there at the moment is Bob Attila the Hun there from the original Gangsters sitting at #1, 27,880. #2 is actually Mugnails, Dong Mugnail. Looks like that too. So, yeah. But the syndicate is there. You can see the syndicates guys are all there. They're not mucking around. So kind of cool. Crates, get a crates. That's what you can do. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Actually, let's just switch over to BNB just quickly. How are we doing for time? An hour and 4 minutes. We're doing pretty well. We're going to end this poll that I got on as well. Before I forget, I don't want to forget about my poll that I put up. on both channels too. So kind of cool. Actually, I need to get that activated over there too. All right, so that is BNB Mafia. Let's jump over to the Hex charts for the end of the Hex day. We haven't got any Ethereum data since the 24th of June, but we do have day 426 out for Pulsechain. Just double checking, yeah. Day 426 results, 11th of July. Price is up 9.3%. Yay! Look at the prices before this, though. Look. That's funny, man. But opportunity, always opportunity, right? Always opportunity. And hey, look, the winners are the guys that buy the bottom, and so you know that's the key, right? So share rate today up to 92. So that's a big move in the share rate today. 735,236 on the old Pulsechain. Let's have a look what else we got going here. The T shares down 3,800 after being up almost 9,000. We've got 9,332,000 T shares. Now the question is, in the end of the year, when we get up to 5 years. That means the people that are mining for 10 years, and there's big fat candles for that, are we going to see them, some of them in stake halfway without getting any interest, but they get their principal back? If the price is big, some of them may do that. We'll see. And we may see a big fall in T-shares in December. So let's see. Maybe January, February, somewhere in that zone. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. The payouts at the moment, penalties pretty low, 300,000, sitting at 65 million. And the liquid holders up 41. Miners are actually up 10 today. Yay! Maybe green candles, right? Miners up 10. 123,541 miners on the old Pulsechain there. Hex.com, check it out. Start mining Hex today on Pulsechain and Ethereum. That is the way it goes. Pretty good. All right. And don't forget to check out Crispy Man. He covers on the deep dive on Hex with all his charts and analysis. Check his channel out, Crispy Man. Kind of cool. All right, that is pretty much it. And yeah, PlayerMafia, man. #1 GameFi on Pulsechain. It's going to be a lot of fun to see it play out. I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage today. We covered everything. It's good to have green charts, right? DJ Hexagon says, ready for the BS Russia lies about Trump to start up a year. They use every lie in the book. I think it only works on most of their own people now. But I think the middle ground, the independents, as they call it, probably seem to be fairly sick of it and tired, and hence why the votes are moving to the center right, around the West. And then, hey, look, if it doesn't happen, then the West is going to be in rapid decline and move into chaos. You're going to have the globalists that are trying to control stuff, and then you're going to have the chaos from all the crazy people flooding the countries from cultures that don't care about the values of security and life and things like that. That's not going to help you very much, is it? What else there? Let's jump over to. Let's get in the poll here at the moment. So we got the poll on Pulsechain, Hex Token. Sorry, we're going to end that poll. And let's see what we got for the results. We got which Richard Hart coin token will perform best in the bull market. Pulse is at 36%. Wow. Incentive token 26%. Hex at 20%, and PulseX at 16%. That's really interesting. That is wow. And I guess once you get to the point where the chain is doing very well, then Pulse takes the lead. I guess that's the logic there that people are saying. And of course, it's starting from a relatively worse location on the chart in terms of chart structure, but has the most upside when the chain gets priced in. If everything else is doing well, yeah, I guess it's kind of the logic there, and we've seen that in the past. 30 votes. So thanks everyone for voting for that. Hope that's been a bit insightful for people. Certainly at the moment, I think Incentive and PulseX have been doing well, but Hex, off the low base there, maybe have a bit of hyper recovery as well. Hex is the store of value. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, pretty attractive yields on PulseX farming though too, right? So that's what it's competing with. Now, we didn't get any votes on Superman Crypto. Normally, we would have people over to do it, but not today. So at least we gave it a try and probably keep that up. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the coverage today. An hour and 10 minutes. Pretty awesome. Enjoy yourself. Still super cheap opportunity on Pulsechain to pick up large volumes and large bags. So enjoy doing that. Let's play out the Magic Carpet Ride video on the way up. And Richard for the winner versus the SEC. If you are going to do an amicus brief, remember, if you've got those sort of skills to do that, get out there and do that too. All right. Peace out, everybody. Take care. Catch you again tomorrow. We'll cover the end of the week results of the stock market and see how whether we can get a second day in a row for Pulsechain going green. How about that? And maybe a green weekend. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be very cool indeed. All right, take care, everybody. Bye for now.
In theory, if someone were a billionaire and they had like all this money, why wouldn't they just buy more of the thing they liked instead of dumping the thing they liked? Like if Bezos bought shares in Amazon, would you be pissed off? If Apple does a stock buyback and they buy more of their own shares in their company back from the public, which is a way to turn earnings into yield for the shareholders, do you get mad and yell at Apple? And so we had to come up with a word for this fan fiction fantasy, which is the opposite of a rug pull, called a magic carpet ride. And so if you're worried about risk of a rug pull, what weighted value have you given the risk of a magic carpet ride? And it's just hilarious to me.
It's fun to watch Hex pumping up the charts. It's left behind all kinds of broken hearts who didn't buy the dip, who didn't DCA. And now that we're on a rip, it's hard to look away. Now I'm not the one to hand out free advice, but as for me, I wouldn't dare think twice about buying a bag, since we're still somewhat down. This rocket ship's about to break the speed of sound. You know these wheels are starting to roll. Best to sit back and just enjoy the show, 'cause we're about to ride that train into the heart of Hexaco. Now, I'll tip my hat to everyone who minds. You're getting paid out while you're killing time. It makes room for a nice vacation to the beach, perhaps a celebration now that you are rich. Ha ha! Ignore the haters who all called you crazy. You studied hard while they were being lazy. Now you're packing bags, about to take a ride up on that rocket ship, mooned up and starry-eyed. I feel these wheels are starting to roll. Best to sit back and just enjoy the show, 'cause we're about to ride that train into the heart of Hexaco. Now that we're summer bound and the sun is bright, I see that it's not round but rather has 6 sides. It's a work of art that's written into code, designed by Richard Hart to make our bags explode. You know these wheels are starting to roll. Best to sit back and just enjoy the show, 'cause we're about to ride that train into the heart of Hexaco. Yeah, we're about to ride that train into the heart of Hexaco.